Welcome. My name is James Perry. I'm a litigation solicitor. I've been for around 20 years, and I'm currently chair of the Law Society's Dispute Resolution Committee. I wanted to put together a few guides for clients primarily, and the first one of these guides is really a whistle-stop kind of tour of the hourly rate. What does the hourly rate actually mean? What is it? And how can your lawyer make it simple for you in terms of understanding it as a client? So I'm just going to try and do this in 5 or 10 minutes to see where we get to. So first point then, hourly rates or fixed fees. So a solicitor can charge in different ways, of course. They can do a no-win, no-fee type deal. That's still usually based on an hourly rate, or they can have a fixed fee, which might be a percentage of something. So maybe 3% of an estate worth £500,000 would be a charge of £15,000 at the end of the job. Or it might just be a fixed sum of money. So they might just agree, right, £10,000 for this, dealing with this probate, that kind of thing. But primarily, no matter what it is, we are paid for our time. So whether it's fixed fees, whether it's hourly rates, whether it's no win, no fee, whether it's a percentage of the overall win, whatever it might be, we look at how long it will take us and we work back from there and figure out what we need to be charged. So this is primarily going to be about the hourly rate because it's still very much something which is used for litigation. And I just wanted to go through it and give you some pointers so you properly understand it. And, you're not really sort of sat there wondering, what does it all mean? Okay then, so first point then, let's say, for example, my hourly rate is £350 plus VAT, which incidentally it's not. Then the way you need to look at this is don't think of it as an hourly rate. That's the first thing to get wrong when it comes to hourly rates. Think of it as 10 units of £35 plus VAT a unit. So that's first thing to do is to deal with it that way. So £35 plus VAT a unit in this example, 6-minute units then. So, 60 divided by 10 is 6 minutes. And that is the minimum unit charge. So the second thing to take away is to understand what a minimum unit charge actually is. So as an example, a £35 charge, which is 1 unit in this example, that could be 1 second or it could be 6 minutes. So it could be receiving an email in from a client or from the other side saying proceed or whatever it might be. 1 word, 1 second, 1 unit. Or it might be up to 6 minutes and it might take me 5 minutes, 30 seconds to review a few documents, write 300 words and send an email. 5 minutes, 30 seconds, still 1 unit, still a charge of £35. So that's the absolute fundamentals of the hourly rate. Don't think of it as the hourly rate. Think of it in 10 parts. Think of it as a minimum unit charge. And that's going to be the first good thing you can do in terms of understanding what an hourly rate actually is. Okay, next post-it. So if you think of all of that, you begin to understand that actually an hourly rate of £350 could actually be a lot more than £350. So if you've got 10 6-minute movements on a file, then that's £350. Great, you get an hour, costs you £350. But what happens if you have 20 3-minute movements for that hour? Well, you've still spent an hour, you've still spent 60 minutes, but it's cost you double, £700. And what if you have 32-minute movements on the file? Well, that's £1,050. And so on and so on and so on. And technically speaking, well, you could have 3,600 1-second units for an hour, and it could cost you, what, 100 grand? In effect, in reality, that's what it could be. And I think that is a really important point, which is always missed by many, many clients. And, it's the one thing we should do when it comes to the hourly rate to really turn things on their head so you properly understand what's going on. And that's to deal with the unit rates. So what's it all about? Well, it's all about efficiencies. It's all about understanding that short movements on a file are actually no good. You've got to make it meaningful every time. Just don't come back with short WhatsApp messages and short text messages and short voicemails and short emails. Come back with something substantive. Come back to your lawyer with something you can actually work with. Because, 30 seconds is 1 unit, 6 minutes and 1 second is 2 units, and so on. So as soon as you understand that, and as soon as you understand that that's how the clock works, that's going to be massively important for you. Okay, so just moving on then a little bit more. Let's see what else I've got. So I thought, well, maybe it's useful if, I tell you how I do it as a litigator. And I do it this way, and I'm very different perhaps to other litigators because I'm a bit pedantic when it comes to time recording. But I want my client to understand exactly how long did it take him to do this and what does it actually relate to. Because a lot of the time there might be 5 emails in a day, and and it just says email out, email out, email out, email out, and it doesn't actually tell you which email was for what. One might be 2 units, one might be 3 units, one might be 1 unit, etc., etc. So I do it a very specific way. So you'll see on this first slide here, the orange one, I put down the time taken. So at the start of my entry, in brackets, I'll put down the actual time in minutes and seconds, if I possibly can, as to how long it's taken me to do that particular task. So here, 0430, simple, that's 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Then I put the description, JP drafting email out to an opponent, that's fine. And then I say exactly when it was done. So the day, it will record the day in any event, but I will actually put the time in the 24-hour clock. So here, 16:14 is 14 minutes past 4 in the afternoon. Simple as that. So you'll always get that kind of a thing from me. I record every single thing, but I don't necessarily charge you for it all. And a lot of the time I'll write off some of my charges as I go along as well, because I appreciate that actually, no, I shouldn't really be charging for that. Should I be charging for this, etc., etc. So it's kind of it's just a way for me to show you absolutely everything I've done on the file and absolutely everything I've charged for, and it really helps with client relationships. So just an example here in the yellow post-it note, the larger one, I might put in square brackets 14:12, JP reviewing evidence received, drafting email out to opponent at 16:12. So that took me 14 minutes, 12 seconds. I did it at 4:12 p.m. And I'm saying it's for 3 units because 6, 12, 3 units. And I've basically said record 2 units out of the 3, but write off one of those units as goodwill gesture to client. Because I might think, well, it took me a little bit longer than I wanted it to, so I'm going to charge 2 units, not 3. But what I'll do is I'll document the fact that I've written off a unit. So I'll do another time recording and I'll just put C entry above, 1 unit, £0. So you've got that as a full breakdown as well. And that just really helps you understand, what I'm doing, that I'm being fair as well, because it's all about fairness. And I think the hourly rate conjures up a perception of everything's unfair. Oh my God, how much am I going to be paying? That kind of a thing. And it just drives and instills fear. But actually, when you understand how it works and when you have an opportunity to respond to any entries, it's actually quite a good method and a good tool for recording your time. Okay, so last 3 slides, quick points here. So the other thing to understand is estimates are estimates always. They're not quotes. There may be a figure, you may get them. Don't think that's all you're going to get, and understand that in certain fields of law, especially litigation, until the other side have responded and engaged with you, you don't actually know which direction something might go off in. So it is definitely just an estimate. It is subject to change. And you need to be just really on top of it. So you need to understand what that first estimate is. You need to budget. Lawyers will always ask for costs on account, or they should do, which is a payment up front to kick things off on a file. That's actually a good thing. See that as a good thing. Because if they're asking for costs on account, if they're getting paid money up front for the work that they're doing, then they're giving you an hourly rate which is as low as they can possibly give you, because they don't have to wait to get paid. They're not giving you credit. So, in a lot of ways, if you're going to pay for legal services, look at the ones that require costs on account, because actually, I think that's probably where you're going to get the better hourly rate from. Okay, when you receive your estimate, keep asking if it's changed. Keep asking whether or not it needs updating, and then budget. And that's, one of my final points here is if they're saying it's going to take 18 months and it's going to cost £9,000, then regardless of whether you spend it in a particular one, budget for the £500. Keep budgeting £500. You might not end up with enough sort of in the pot to pay for a particular stage, but it's going to help you. And in some months, when you've actually saved a bit of money, it's going to help towards your legal bills. So always budget. Don't just think, oh, well, it might settle, or it might be all right, let's not budget. Get your budgeting done, because that's really important. So in reality, that's the hourly rate. That's how it works. That's how it's broken down. This is how I deal with it. These are the pointers that I would always make. There's 1,001 questions when it comes to hourly rates. The main thing for us solicitors to do is to give you an understanding of what it is, so you can question what we're recording and you can build up your efficiency. So once you've built up your efficiencies, once you understand how we charge and why we charge, then you can keep your bill down. And that's the point of this guide. So I hope that's been useful. I'm sure you'll have, lots of questions anyway, but that's how I do it. And if you ever instruct me, it's an open and honest conversation all the way through. And if you instruct somebody else, well, at least you've got a bit more of an idea of how things work. Okay, so I wish you well. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.